The most beautiful thing about the snow-covered mountains shouldn't be the landscape, but the cabin nestled in the scenery. Great Bear is the next burgeoning vacation destination, and it's important to get ahead of the trend before getting priced out by the flannel-wearing, leaf-peeping yuppies. Sure, some of these locations are a bit of a fixer-upper, but when it comes to turning a shell of a shack into a winter wonderland retreat, it's no problem. You made the suggestions, and now we're answering the call, and I see a cozy new home in your future. The enchanting Northern Territories are just one rickety plane ride away. So come with me as we clamber up climbing ropes and run like the wind in search of our next wintertime getaway. Boreal Bargain Hunt Mountaintop Renovations. Weeknights at 8 p.m. here on NBC. All right, so our first suggestion is the Sundered Pass Weather Station. Brought to us by this guy. The Sundered Pass Weather Station is located on top of a mountain in Sundered Pass. But before we get to the station, we first need to traverse the walk-up to the station. So, we got this grand entrance, this beautiful bridge with a beautiful bird's eye view, looking great. If you're familiar with this channel, you know that we love a bird's eye view, and this has got to be one of the best ones. Look how far out into the distance you can see. Great bird's eye view, great start. And then we got this little extra set of stairs, not quite as extravagant as the bridge with the bird's eye view and such. You're just kind of, you're walking up some stairs and you're looking at some rocks. Not the best view. Maybe we'll give that one maybe like a C+ in terms of views in this game. I guess we'll start with the shed first. So yeah, not bad. Not a bad shed. You got some supplies in here. It's a good place for storage. If you're running out of room in the shack, you can just, stack up your firewood out here and you probably have a good time. We got some haunted tires over there. Don't really have much of an explanation for that. But some places in the long dark, they're just haunted. Doesn't really affect you in any sort of way, but just bear in mind that you might see some haunted areas. They're completely harmless. Other than the workbench, there's not a whole lot to see over here. We got some weather instruments over here. We got a spinster and a swingy-mabob. The only instrument I know about is the upright bass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, walk that dog. We'll check out the dome here. We'll go see what's going on in the dome section of the weather station. Yeah, it's looking pretty run down. A lot of snow-covered consoles. Can't imagine there's a whole lot of science going on here anymore. Over here in the dome section of the Sundered Pass weather station. That antenna has sent out its last wave. Radio or otherwise. No more sonic waves. I don't know what kind of waves that they use to measure the weather. I would imagine it's probably not radio waves. So let's check out the shack section of the Sundered Pass weather station. Okay. I mean, no snow. We love that. A nice little place to warm up. Seems a little bit more functional of a workspace. You could probably set some papers on the desks here, and you wouldn't have to worry about them blowing around and getting all out of place out in the wind in the wilderness. We got a chalkboard over here. You could write some equations or even just doodle a little drawing. If you were really looking for something to do here in the shack section of the Sundered Pass weather station. And look at this. Wow, we got a whole lot, like a nice little moose painting and a cozy little living space over here. We got some shelf space, got a good amount of supplies. We could make some hot cakes or some pancakes with maple syrup. That's probably the preferred meal that you could get with the, with what they got here so far. Plenty of firewood, some flares. You got that thing on you. Oh, and look at that. We got a old school chunky 80s style computer. Maybe they got Pong on that thing. We could play a little bit of Pong. Nice little painting there. That looks like Mystery Lake. Is that Mystery Lake? Could be. Oh, and look, some bunk beds. Nice. Nice. Maybe we could invite a friend over. That is if Mom allows us to. But it is the weekend after all, so it shouldn't be a problem. We are sleepy, gang, so maybe we're going to catch a few winks, go back outside when we're a little less tired, and maybe the weather will be a little bit better. Maybe it won't be quite so windy. So let's skip in time, and I'll see you guys there, okay? All right, see you then. All right, beautiful. Hope everybody got a nice night's rest, a good night's sleep. I'm gonna grab some coffee and get a little sense of the view here. Get a nice little panoramic view of the Sundered Pass weather station. Still pretty foggy, but I think part of the appeal of this place is that you're just so high up. You're looking down on the desolate winter tundra of the Sundered Pass region. So visibility being low or otherwise, we'll get the picture here. So I think that this is a good spot. Science requires a lot from us. Time, redundancy, sacrifice. It's a path that's not for everyone. And yet, despite these downsides, we appreciate its advantages even more. Knowledge, relief, enlightenment. And although these concepts are their own rewards, perhaps there are benefits that are even more immediate, more egocentric, like being the solitary soul bold enough to sit upon this frigid mountaintop, reaching out to touch the hand of God, hoping for an answer to her secrets. And when you return to Earth with a smoldering piece of Promethean insight, you can smile knowing that you were the one that brought humanity another step closer to transcendence. Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. Which is why staring into the mist with the wind freezing my face seems like a fine spot to take a moment and have a bit of coffee. So our next suggestion comes from user at 20bucks81 who says, farming homestead in Pleasant Valley. So that's where we're going to go. Our next stop is the Pleasant Valley Farmstead. I think that's a great suggestion. It's a nice little farm, got a cute little vibe, a lot of positives, a lot of things to like about it, I'm not going to get into it here because we're going to get over there as soon as we can. So, Pleasant Valley Farmstead. Let's go there now. All right, so here we are at the Pleasant Valley Farmstead. We got this is a great place. We got a lot of interesting little details about this place. So we got this cute little camping area. You could have a nice little picnic out here, weather permitting, of course, right, folks? We got the swing set out in the tundra, which I couldn't really see myself using. I feel like playground equipment in freezing cold weather, just not a good combination. We got a whole goddamn house out here. Look at this place. We got three porches. We got the bay windows over there. I mean, usually we're staying in a little cabin or a little one room shack or something, but that's a nice little change of pace. We got a little farming silo over there. I don't know what I would do with a grain silo. I don't think I've seen a kernel of grain in this whole game. But that's neither here nor there. I'm sure that there's a farming season theoretically up in Great Bear at some point. We're just here in the wintertime, Give them a break. Not a whole lot of sticks or branches in the immediate vicinity of the house, so that might be a bit of a downside. It's a bit isolated, But at the same time, look at that view. You got to appreciate a nice open area like this. Anyways, let's go check out the inside and see what's going on in there. Well, now here's the farmhouse basement. Now there's certainly a lot of storage down here. You definitely can't say that there's not a lot of storage. There's not really much else, but they do have that. You know, we got the washer and dryer down here, bunch of crates. Not a whole lot to see, really. Just a whole bunch of junk. If you like junk, you're going to love the farmhouse basement here at the Pleasant Valley Farmstead. Oh, look, more haunted stuff over here. So that's 2 haunted locations. For those of you keeping track at home, maybe you got a bingo card or something, or, you know, put number 2 on the counter of haunted locations here in the Pleasant Valley Farmstead. Well, let's go into the actual main part of the house and see what's going on. Now, this is a pretty cozy little foyer. Say down in the comments how you think it's pronounced, foyer or foyer. But it's a cozy little section, nice little walk-in. Here's the bathroom. No door on the bathroom, which maybe you're okay with. You got an open door policy at your house. Me personally, I'd prefer a little bit more privacy. But you know, maybe this is like a house for one. Kitchen is we got a nice big kitchen here. You know, you could you could host a nice little Thanksgiving here or something. You got a lot of room to work with in this kitchen. You got a real Yes Chef style kitchen in here. You know, you could see you get a couple people, you know, making some breakfast, someone making pancakes, another person cooking up some bacon. You know, someone's got the coffee going. I think it'd be a nice place to hang out and before you get ready for the day in the morning. You know, that nice little kitchen table over here. A real this is like a Food Network stock kitchen when you think about it. This is kind of like the kitchen area where they, you know, have the pre-made food in the fridge that isn't connected to anything, and the oven that's never turned on. Anyways, let's move into the living room / dining room, I guess. You know, this is where the bay windows that we were talking about earlier, that's where these are featured, which I think make for a very nice place to sit by the fire. So, you know, we got a beautiful fireplace over here. Throwing some reading material into the fire, which I wouldn't recommend unless, I guess, if you've read it already and it's really cold. I wouldn't be jumping at the recommendation of you to, you know, just burn books unless it was like you really needed to do that. So, yeah, you know, we got a nice little dining room over here. It's a little more fancy than the kitchen table, you got to admit. I'm sure when you're actually eating Thanksgiving, this is the place where you would be having the Thanksgiving meal. Nice little cozy area. And we got our friend Bambi up on the wall over there. I'm more of a painting guy than a taxidermy animal guy, just in terms of like looking for items to spruce up a room. I would prefer to have a painting over the head of an animal, but to each their own. And then we got a little office over here. The office seems a little redundant in a survival situation. I don't really know like what sort of managerial or clerical tasks you would necessarily have in a geomagnetic survival situation, but you know, it's nice to have it just so you have it, right? It's better to have it and not need it than want it and not have it. Am I right, gang? That's about offices and nothing else. We got our little bookless shelf over there. They might have actually all gone into the fire It seems silly to have so many bookshelves with no books. You got a whole bookshelf wall behind you, but I mean, that just might be how bad it is out here. These guys went through the whole library, huh? Anyways, let's go upstairs and see what's going on up there. Yeah, we got a nice little common room over here. You could play a little Parcheesi or some Scrabble, or you could play some chess. The problem with chess is that it's just a 2-player game. What if you got 4 people there? We're not going to play Monopoly. Someone's always crying at the end of a game of Monopoly. Anyways, maybe Settlers of Catan. That's pretty fun. That's tough but fair. Anyways, the master bed. We got moving on to the master bedroom. It's a master bedroom. You got the big king size, queen size bed, and you got your dressers and just a nice little space to put your things at the end of a long day. Not too much going on here. It's a bedroom. It's what you would expect out of a bedroom. Now let's see what's in room number 2. All right, a little more of the same. We got a nice little, we got a painting. This one looks a little more solemn, a little sad to me. But it could also just be warm-hearted, maternal, perhaps. Who's to say? I think sometimes the sadness is just sort of implied from the loneliness of the areas, where if there was a more lively situation with people and to talk to and things to do, you'd probably have a more optimistic interpretation of the painting. Anyways, let's move on to the next room here. Check out the bathroom. Another doorless bathroom. That puzzles me. I would like to speak to the architect and just see, is this a cultural thing? Do you guys just have doors on the bathrooms wherever you go? I mean, there's a curtain on the shower, but then what about when you step out of the shower? You got to wear a towel the whole time there's no part where you get to a room with a door on it where you can have some privacy. Now this is the gamer room. Yeah. This is where you play Halo 2 split screen right there. Nice little table. You could put your Cheetos or your Mountain Dew, your Doritos. Again, no door on the gamer room, so it's going to be loud. Mom and Dad are not going to get any rest, really. We're going to be screaming and swearing, and they're going to have to put up with that. Sorry, guys. All right, let's get the heck out of here. I love how you can see smoke coming out of the chimney whenever you set a fire. It's always so cozy to me when you're walking away from a shelter that you just left, and you got a fire going, and you're just like, all right, see you later, fire. Yeah, have fun. Won't be seeing you for a while. This spot seems pretty good. Calvin's dad would be the first to tell you that hard work builds character. And it's hard work living in a one-room shack in the middle of a blizzard, trying to squeeze every little bit of utility you can out of every square inch. But sometimes you want a bit more. Sometimes you decide, you know what? I have enough character. I've got enough character to write a whole story. And now I would like a place to hang my hat and boots, coats, snow pants, mittens, ear wraps, and whatever other article of clothing I may stumble upon in my travels. And you would be right. After all, Calvin's dad said a lot of things, many of which didn't make any sense at all. And you shouldn't be making sweeping life decisions based on the rantings of a fictional character from the newspaper funny pages, which is why I think this is a great place to look into the distance and have a sip of coffee. So our next suggestion comes from a commenter who says, Mystery Lake Trapper's Cabin might be a contender. And a contender it is, because that is our next stop, Mystery Lake Trapper's Cabin. Mystery Lake Trapper's Cabin, great little spot, quaint little cabin, and I'm excited to go and see what's going on over there. So, Mystery Lake Trapper's Cabin. Let's go there now. And here we are, the Mystery Lake Trapper's Cabin. The Mystery Lake Trapper's Cabin is located in the beautiful landscape of the Mystery Lake Mountains. We got plenty of wildlife, lots of critters roaming around, chomping at the foliage and such. It's a real Snow White sort of experience going on here. We got this little shack, the shed, which seems a little bit useless right now. I mean, I suppose that you could say that it's some storage, but I think in a blizzard scenario, you'd probably want something a little bit closer. We got the Trapper's Cabin right there, located on the picturesque little spot on the hill. Really, it looks like a house from like an Orson Welles movie, except a lot smaller, like way smaller, but beautiful nonetheless. Place comes with the graveyard. I would not recommend building on top of that. We might have to count that as another possibly haunted. Maybe put a little tilde next to that because it's possibly haunted. Provided the fact that you actually build on top of it. We'll give that like half a point. How about half a point? That seems fair. So yeah, this is the the little house on the hill. And you get a lot of this. All of this land is part of the property here. So you get your little rabbit grove. You got some salvageable twigs and such over there. And so if you're a fan of rabbits, you'll have plenty of pets for you to feed. I don't know, dehydrated corn. What do rabbits eat? Let me know in the comments what rabbits eat. So, we got a nice little backyard over here. Very quiet, very cozy. Beautiful day, too. You don't get days like this every day up in Great Bear. So, let's go inside and see what's going on in there. Now, look at this. We got a very smart, efficient, family-focused style shack here. Which sounds like I'm saying small, but like, shut up. You're small. How about that? Oh! Why don't you go hit the gym, you small little guy?
Take it easy.
Anyways, everything you need is at arm's reach. You got the wood stove. You got the locker, armchair. Oh, you got some more haunted stuff. Add that to the tally. Some more haunted stuff over. So they probably did already build on top of the graveyard. We'll make it into a full haunted point, and then we might have to give a second one over there just
oh no,
to remain consistent with the secondary instance of hauntedness. Anyways, there are bears here. Full disclosure. So in that case, you got a little place for your gun over there. In all honesty, the bed could be a little bit more comfy. That's a little bit of an upgrade job there. So we got it's well stocked, plenty of places to put things. What you see is what you get. So I think we can get the heck out of here. Let's see. Let's find a nice little place, get a panoramic view. We were in there for longer than I thought. It's starting to snow now. Ah, yes, right here. That looks nice. Streamlining your workspace is an essential part of living in the post-electricity geomagnetic disaster lifestyle. Every moment is precious, and clutter can lead to indecision, which may be the deciding factor between another night in a toasty cabin or fading into the long dark.
Hey, that's the name of the game.
The sprawling amusement park of the Northern Canadian Territories is all the fun I'll ever need, and the superfluous, distracting amenities of a larger shelter will only serve to stifle my forward-thinking, long-term survival goals. When you think about it, living alone in the middle of the woods is not just an elaborate exercise in asceticism, but is actually making the world a better place. So sell all your stuff and move into the Trapper's Cabin today. And don't forget, per my contract, I get 7% commission, which is why I think this is a great place to take it all in and have a cup of coffee. Wow, right before the storm hit. Okay, it's getting a little windy, getting a little chilly. And so our last suggestion comes from someone who says you should really consider the Langston mine area for a future entry. Well, consider it considered and consider it done, because our final stop is the Zone of Contamination Langston mine area. I think that'll be an interesting little spot. So, yeah, let's check it out. Yeah. Zone of Contamination Langston mine area. Let's go there now. And here we are at the Zone of Contamination Langston mine area. So here in the Langston mine area, we have a lot of very large buildings to choose from. We've of course got the main the refining plant, I suppose, and but this is the building that we're going to focus on today. Now, I'm not an expert, so I can't really speak to what specific aspect of the mining process that this building is actually attributed to. But nonetheless, we're going to go down there and we're going to, see how it is as just a shelter, a place to, lay your head and keep warm at night. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of open space here. So if you need a lot of space to move around, I would say that, like, if you got pets, this would be a good place to bring them. But there's a little bit of a poisonous gas situation. A lot of noxious fumes floating around, hovering on head and neck breathing level. So maybe not an ideal spot to move a family into, or to have a bunch of pets. I feel like it's more of like a singles crash pad, So these are the auxiliary sheds outside of the mining area. There's not a whole lot to them. There's no beds or anything. No real, like, you could bring a sleeping bag, have a sleepover if you want, but nothing that's really conducive to a long-term stay. It's not really a place you'd want to move in. As you can see, there's plenty of holes in the roofs. It's going to be terribly drafty in here. And so we're moving on to, again, like, couldn't tell you which part of the mining process this building is. Let us know in the comments if you have any sort of insight as to what part of the mining process does this building actually do. Maybe it's just a mining shaft that transports all of the mined ore into the actual refinery. That sounds pretty close. I think that's a pretty good guess. But the experts chime in. Let us know. I'm a little bit curious. But let's go inside and see what's going on in there. All right, so this is the mining building. It's the building in which the mining takes place. So not a lot of natural light. That's definitely that's a little bit of a letdown. Yeah, you're definitely not going to want to spend a lot of time inside here in the mining building. But on the plus side, there's definitely there's a lot of different rooms. So it is sublettable if you're looking to be a landlord here out in Great Bear. you could sublet this dreary mining building and become a slumlord. You guys are probably salivating thinking about cleaning up, doing something like that, you disgusting piece of. Anyways, we got a couple of floors here, but without any sort of comfortable amenities, I feel like there's not a whole lot to look at. Again, this is really this is a sleeping bag type of situation, or a build your own furniture kind of situation. So unless you're a real handy, hands-on craftsman type of person, ready for a fixer-upper kind of a project, the amount of furniture that you would get out of this place would probably be a little bit of a disappointment. And here's the final part. We're gonna go even deeper down into the mine, And let's go down there and check it out. And here we are at the bottom of the mine shaft. And let's take a peek into the mine here. All right, here's the mine. A nice little fire barrel going on over here. It's safe from chemical poisoning and most other weather events. So, not a bad place to wait out a blizzard. If you need a place to go, something to do, come on down to the Langston mine. Just make sure you bring some firewood because this is the only source of light you're getting. Maybe bring some vitamin D supplements if you plan on spending an extended period of time down here. Just a suggestion. Now, I feel like the rock and the metal, it's a little bit uncomfortable. So, again, it's way more of a crash pad. It's a hard place to turn into a home. I think in terms of storage space and salvageable materials, you got a lot to work with here. You could kind of scour this place and find a whole bunch of goodies left by the previous inhabitants of the Langston mining area. There's no functional kitchen, no bathrooms, which would probably be a problem. But there are a lot of bottomless pits. I guess a bathroom is what you make of it in that sort of scenario. When your back is up against the wall, you do what you got to do. Yeah! And no judgment here, folks. This is a judgment-free channel. We got some good verticality here. If you like high ceilings, this place is for you. And you definitely have a lot of room to expand here. If you are the sort of do-it-yourself craftsman type of person, you got a lot of space to maybe build a couple couches, a coffee table. You could really turn this place into a really comfy spot, I think. But yeah, that's the mining area, I would say. Let's get our cup of coffee ready. And our coffee's ready to go. So let's pick this up and head out into the snow. The worst part of this shelter really is that you got to climb up the elevator cable. And, who knows if you could find the floor that you came in on. Best of luck to you. Hope you're well rested for the journey. Nope, that's not it. Please, grip, don't fail me now. Said a grip, don't fail me now. There's the ledge. Okay. Right in time. Let's go outside and find a nice spot. Right over here, the bountiful overlook. We got a bounty of looks over here. Let me ask you something. Down in the mines, are you inside or outside? I mean, on the one hand, you are inside the surface of the earth, shielded from the weather and hazards of the outdoors. But on the other hand, are you? It would be silly to say that no one has ever frozen on the inside of a cave, and furthermore, you are exposing yourself to a whole host of dangers that are absent on the Earth's crust. I mean, just ask the Nutty Putty cave guy. Or, you know what I mean. What if natural erosion causes a stalactite to fall on your unsuspecting noggin? Or if the shifting Earth silently blocks proper airflow, turning your exhalations into sand slowly filling up an hourglass? And yet, the allure of the cave still calls to some, and I can't help but respect the person who throws caution to the wind and straps on their spelunking helmet to go where no one has gone before. But couldn't be me, which is why I'm going to stay right here and enjoy my coffee. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and ring-a-ding that thing to stay up to date whenever I drop a new video. You can follow me on Blue Sky or check out my Bandcamp in the description below. And don't forget to tell me about your favorite shelters in the comments. I want to wish everybody a great day. Stay safe. I'm MrSunn, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Higher than the 747. Turns me up to 11. Man, this must be heaven. Never doubt I'm loving for a second. Two to 3 babies and a wedding. I'm spending. Something's coming over me. I'm obsessing. Head over feet. No lie, that ain't